to the Chinese Fashion Evolution event hosted by Columbia GCC. My name is Odette, and I'm a senior at Columbia studying economics and art history. Thank you all for coming. And we are so honored to invite our prestigious designer Taoray Wang here to give us about some insights about the Chinese fashion industry. And so now I'm gonna give the stage to our moderator Michelle and our speaker Taoray Wang. Thank you.
Hi, welcome everyone. I'm Michelle from Columbia University Fashion Society. Today, GCC and TUFS are so excited and honored to have with us today Ms. Taoray Wang. I personally am a fan of your design, and as we all know, since your design debuted in New York Fashion Week in 2014, it has been a huge success. Could you share with us a little bit about how you started out and then like the ambition and the vision behind the brand?
Okay, and before that, can I just say hello to everybody?
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, yeah. I'm Taoray Wang, and I would really, I think I'd be very honored to come to this great university, and I'm so proud of everybody here can be one from Columbia, and it used to be my dream university. I couldn't make it, but that's why I'm so honored to come here to share my experience with everybody. Yeah, Michelle, so you asked me, the first question was 2014, I launched Taoray Wang New York, and
would you mind sharing with us how you started out and your vision behind the design?
If you don't mind, I think today I will just have a really relaxing communication with everybody, and because I'm not someone who's get used to speak and speech, but I think I like this kind of like a closed, talk to each other, and this is something everybody's relaxing. When 2014, when I decided to launch Taoray Wang in New York, everybody was asking me, says why you chose New York and why you launched the brand, something like Taoray Wang. I would like to introduce Taoray Wang before I start everything. Taoray Wang is a brand, we only focus on styling, providing service for the executive leading female leader. So I think this brand is the brand position is quite unique, because we can see a lot of fashion brands all over the world, and they have a luxury brand, they have designers brand, and what kind of brand. But Taoray Wang is only one brand we focusing on executive female leader, because that's I think I have been fashion designer for maybe over 25 years. Now you know my age. So my first degree was history. I was studying history from China East Normal University, and so after studying history, I just found I still have lots of passion for fashion, for design. And then I think, okay, I finished whatever my parents wished me to do, and then I traveled to Tokyo. I moved to Tokyo and start to learning fashion design. So I have learned fashion critic design from Tokyo Model Gaku. And after graduate from design college, I just had a great opportunity working for the Japanese designer called Koshino Junko. Is everybody know Koshino Junko here? Then, after 1998, before I'm getting 30 years old, and then I gave to myself a birthday present, because I just found in Japan, as a woman, as a lady, and you only can reach certain position and I just wish I could have more opportunities. So I decided to quit the job, travel to Europe, China market, and I just feel like there is something attract me to go back to work in China. So then I moved to China. I started working for the brand for Q Generation, which is QQ, the Tencent. They have this QQ mark. And then 2004, for some, through some friends, Yan, the top model Yan, through her introduced, I started working for Revo Group, which is now I'm still in this group, and I work for this brand called Broadcast. Or the reason, there is a long story before I start Taoray Wang. The reason I would like to share this just because that's exactly the reason I start Taoray Wang, because I was always creative director, a fashion brand, and to be a fashion designer. But from 2009, after like almost 18 years experience working as a fashion designer, I had an opportunity to take the new position as a CEO to run a fashion brand. From that second, I realized I can't just wear pretty clothes. I can't just wear something nice. Because as a CEO, as an executive, and then you're not just talking to celebrities and models. You start to talk to it's like government and bankers and all this kind of people. If you wear something too pretty or too, yes, they're very pretty, they're very distinguished, but people wouldn't accept you, and people would think you're from different world, and then they even to put question mark in their face, said, really? You really understand everything? And I was just like, yeah, And then from that second I realized actually, the clothes you're wearing is the people to judge you, who you are, and how much you understand. So then I start to looking for some suitable brand, which is suitable for executive position, also very stylish. So I had a problem to finding these clothes because look, all these brands, yes, they are pretty, they are, nice clothes, but it just doesn't suit the position. So then I think, yeah, I'm going to create one. So Taoray Wang is in that background. Taoray Wang was appeared. So I think for the brand position, and we are quite special in that way as a branding positioning. We are focusing in executive, female leader, and that's how I start.
Yeah, it's definitely very powerful to focus on design for female leaders who are confident women all around the world who are not afraid to show their femininity but also their leadership positions.
Yeah.
I think that is very powerful. And then I'm also very interested in how does the notion feminism or femininity plays in design?
Sorry to everybody because when Michelle asked me, I'm always extends to very long answer, very long history.
No, please, I'd love to hear what you say.
I just wish you don't get bored by what I'm talking. And when I think, Michelle asked me this femininity and why it's in the, before, because I'm crazy about tailor suit. Actually, when I started my career in Japan, I started with a menswear design, and I was working for Junko Om. Om is French, and means menswear. And then I was being designed Kushino Junko Junior Nisei. Nisei is a Japanese means junior. And then I had the opportunity to really study the tailor suit and menswear. But when I start Taoray Wang, and I start realize the reason I couldn't find more suitable clothes for myself, just because I just feel like, the suit, it looks so boring. And, it's pants, suits, even the skirt, it just, they look like no signature. It's just, you can, it's like uniform. And I, as a fashion designer, I don't want to wear anything like a uniform. So, I started to create a new brand. Also, one thing I realized is women's powers, raising up, international world. And you found this more and more female leader, including president, and including this, all the CEOs, executive, and suit used to be a menswear. There isn't much women's wear. Is anybody here and know the history of Chanel? Yeah? Can you?
Chanel is the first lady to develop the pants, and there's the jersey, the jersey wear and the pants. Before Lady Chanel's riding horse and the Chanel Coco just made the pants for women who can ride horse.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much. And yes, it's amazing. I think that's. I appreciate you have so much talent in Columbia University. It's not just smart. They have so much knowledge in that Chanel, now everybody knows Chanel is a big luxury brand, and everybody knows Chanel is very expensive. But I love Chanel. It's not because it's luxury or expensive. It's Chanel's, yeah. Later I'm going to introduce Xu Jie maybe. Yeah. So I think, everybody know, nowadays, a lot of people know Chanel as a luxury brand, very expensive. But I'm much more attached with Chanel's biography. And she is the first fashion designer and changed the fashion, because her generation, all the French ladies, they wore pretty big dress, and the big dress is not very suitable for working women. And Chanel used to be the orphans. She was brought up in this orphan place, but she just realized that working woman doesn't suitable for the clothes, used to call expensive luxury. And then she was so brave to bring this working clothes into the fashion world. And then I believe her success, and Chanel as a French fashion designer, but she was accepted and made a huge success from New York. From New York. That's something I don't know if also you know. Yeah, that's also, yeah. Chanel, she had a boyfriend. It's Nazis, German Nazis. So after Second War, everybody's really criticized her, and everybody hates her because they believe if your boyfriend is Nazis, then you must be the bad person. So she can't fall that pressure. And nobody buy her clothes in France, because, well, that's also another point of me. We are fashion designer, we're not politician. Even we have clients, maybe close to, politicians. We also have lots of clients, but people just think, okay, if your client is a politician, you must have same politician. I don't know. With them, but I think I'm talking to you later about this. And then she get really a lot of criticized from Europe. She has to move to American, but New York, American, is a city really work on her. And she opened her Fifth Avenue, a big flag shop. And I think maybe later, can I introduce my friend Amy Zhang to everybody? You know, I would love to introduce Amy Zhang. You know, actually, Amy is from Colombia as well. Maybe Amy can have a little self-introduction to everybody.
Oh yeah, thank you. I'm a big fan of Taoray, and also a close friend. She's become a close friend. I really admire her talent and her work and everything that she does. Her kindness as well. But I'm always thrilled to be here since I graduated from Columbia Business School many years ago. It ages me, 97. Columbia is the best, and Columbia Women's the best. Also the man who joined the women's event.
You know, I am so proud of Amy because, Amy is I can't say that, of course she's the first Chinese lady who's leading American, is founding, how can describe, the Wall Street funds. I can't even speak any professional.
I'm a partner and portfolio manager of Alger. I run the small cap product there, and I'm the best performing equity managers last year. So
It's not just last year, it's all these years, and she is leading all this. Wall Street is a miracle, but Amy is not just because she's a Chinese lady. I think she is the only one lady who's leading a Wall Street fund, and I'm so proud of her. And also because many years ago we had an opportunity to meeting the fashion collection, and we meet up, then we become friends, and I really appreciate she's always wear my clothes beautifully. And before she was she's still a big VIP front row for Chanel. When I talk about Chanel, very successful, and my WeChat always post some, if they watch my WeChat later, I'm talking about Chanel. Yeah, so I think, Chanel become a really successful fashion designer, a really luxury big name, just because I think it's her attitude. And fashion actually is not just the art. I think fashion is, you have to really, it's a way for life. It's a way for phenomenal life. You really have to understand the style, why people wear them, and that's I think that's the success of Chanel. But Taoray Wang, I think as a brand, a few years ago, I realized the female leaders' power is raising up. So, the power suit no longer is only belongs to the men. And as a female executive leader, and we need a really beautiful clothes to present ourselves, not just uniform. Yeah. So, but when you talk about feminalities, like Amy, look at her. When you look at Amy, you wouldn't think, oh, she's like a man and tough and handsome. Yeah, when she works, she's tough. She's really tough, and she's really, but I think there is another power, and it's females' power. When we're talking about power, normally we think power is control, power is fighting, power is, that's men's power. And the power is fighting, is control, is, is win. But I think there is another power, even more stronger, is, I call it women's power. I'm sorry, I know there is lots of gentlemen here, and I'm not a feminist, but I think when I talk about female power, I think the power is not just about winning and competition and laws and control, there's another even more powerful power is sharing, loving, harmony, giving. And I think I call it woman's power, female power, because, that's another power. And it's going to be even more powerful. So I start realize you don't have to show yourself like a man. Even you are just tough, just smart, just so hardworking like every man's leader. But with your female power, loving, sharing, caring, harmony, and smart, actually you become more powerful and the world needs it. So I bring this idea into my brand.
Yeah, I cannot agree with you more. I love the notion that you don't have to be masculine to be powerful. Every woman, smart woman, hardworking woman, deserve a place in the leadership, and regardless of the gender restrictions or discriminations. Yes, and I believe a lot of people who sit here also understand how miracle Wall Street is, because finance is definitely a big part of Columbia culture, and a lot of people at Columbia wants to graduate and goes to finance, goes to Wall Street. So I'm glad that we're so honored that Amy is here, truly like acting as a role model for a lot of young girls like me who want to be in your shoes one day.
Yeah, she is absolutely a role model, and I am so proud of her as a Chinese, because when I read her story, I was like, Wall Street, and the first leading Wall Street fund is Chinese. Of course, it just happens she's a Chinese lady, but she's not just a Chinese lady. She is the first lady who's leading this fund in Wall Street, and I'm so proud of her.
Yes, and also speaking of coming from China and being a Chinese person in the United States, and as a CEO and designer, do you find any culture difference or like anything that's challenging as someone coming from China and going to North American market? And how's your multicultural background gives you an advantage or challenge in your career?
Yeah, lots of people ask me, says, as a Chinese designer, and do you find it challenging here, or why you launch here? And then, yes, I am Chinese, but maybe I think like everybody, I was brought up in Tokyo, Japan, and then I had an opportunity, moved to England in 1998, then I back to China again, and now I'm settled in England, and then my office, my company is in Shanghai, but I've launched my brand in New York. Don't you ever think, maybe these days, there is another phenomenon, is international, is, like I always say, I never feel like Shanghai is typical Chinese city, and like I don't feel like New York is typical American city, or Tokyo is typical Japan. I think they like metropolis, international. And this city, like London as well, the London, New York, Shanghai is present international finance, economy, and all these kind of they don't present typical, how do you call it? So, when for me it's quite natural to launch in New York, based in Shanghai, and I live in London. So, because this city is just so familiar with me, and there is, when I talk about the suit, and who's wearing suit, maybe the best is people in finance. And the reason, when I moved to London from Tokyo, because I used to be a menswear designer, I just really adore the men's tailor from England, Silver Road, because I think, wow, it's so cool. When I really moved to London, and when I work on the street, and finances, the bank, and somewhere, I just found they are so stylish and so cool. The gentleman, English gentleman. And English gentleman in finance is the best dress. I just attracted by this kind of like distinguished and I can't express, but the dress shows everything. And then so the suit, because you always see people, finance people, executive ladies, and politicians, diplomas, and CEOs wear suit, and so they are all living in this kind of city. So for me, I never really say I'm a Chinese, want to launch in New York, or I want to do some PR, attract people's attention. For me, it's so natural to launch this brand in New York because they only belong to New York. London is, lots of emerging designer, and I love London to live. But I never think, okay, because the London Fashion Week is more like emerging designer, like this beautiful lady here, they're funky, they're very artistic. But New York Fashion Week, they're very business. And they're very they're smart, but they're wearable, and they're more commercial. Milan is more technology, and Tokyo is also funky. So for me to launch in New York is very natural. But there is so many people curious about being Chinese designer launching in New York. But I would like to describe myself as, how to say, international, or I don't know. International.
Citizen of the world.
Yeah, but with the Chinese background. Yes.
I definitely agree with New York, London, and Tokyo being like metropolitan and definitely international cities. And do you have any advice for like emerging designers from China who wants to explore the international market? Is it how is it to figure out if they want to launch in New York City? Is there anything that they need to do, or is there any advice that you would like to share with them?
Sometimes even as a fashion designer, I still quite confuse people why they have fashion shows. I was very clear why I have fashion shows why I launched in New York, because Taoray Wang, you can see, is obvious, is very like, say, the brand position is for executive female leader, is very for, like finance and commercial, and it suits New York the best. That's why I chose New York to launch. But there's lots of brands. I think maybe they had different reasons to launch their collection. They chose New York for one season, they moved to London, and they moved to. But I think the purpose for them is more like PR. But for me to launch in New York and continue to launch in New York, I think the purpose is not just for PR. It's more like, I would like to have a dialogue with this market. And for all these emerging designers, I think, because consumer is different. Not everybody, like Amy, is working for finance, executive woman. We have lots of, we have people working for music, working for art, and working for different, profession. But I think fashion design is the attitude, is a dialogue to communicate with consumer, and you have to choose the right place to have communication with them. And I think if and also for this new emerging designer, yes, I think the attitude design obviously is very important, the feeling, the emotion, but also the technology. When I say technology, because in making nice clothes, you do need technology. You have to learn the experience of choosing the right fabric and cutting and how to make the beautiful, nice clothes. All this is important. So, spend your time to really study.
And do you see, like building off that, do you
think technology will bring a huge influence to the fashion as well, and because before we don't know how all this technology fabric, because in my show I also accept I'm using top textile from Italy, France, but also I use eco-friendly fabric from Japan, like Taoray. Taoray is a company really keen to study all this technology, and they create a lot of fabrics, and you can they send this space how do you say this spaceship into the space, but they need, because the temperature is different, they need special fabrics. Yesterday I launched my collection. I use this really special fabric from Taoray, and it's not just fabric. Even for now we have 3D prints and measurement for measure people's body, and there is more and more technology we have to adopt into fashion.
Yeah, first congratulations on your New York Fashion Week show yesterday. And is there any one piece from your collection that's your favorite piece that you like the most?
I don't have favorite piece because I really love every piece of them, but because I believe fashion is not just the beautiful. Actually, what I think my work is not just the clothes, is the people who's wearing my clothes, and that person become my work, because I think you have to wear something suit you the best. Like I actually had a lot of influence by Amy as well. Amy she's from Shanghai, she's from China, and you notice we have different build with American, and it's like Shanghai, especially Shanghai lady, they tend to be petite. So as an agent, it's like a physical build. I think they're more suitable for this short skirt, because it shows them taller. I think it's not say the clothes is beautiful. It's the people, the best outfit for this person, and then the all total look become my work.
Yeah, definitely. There is a saying that you are what you wear. So what you wear is definitely your presentation of yourself, and it's natural to say that like the design just fits the personality, and then like the whole person becomes the work. That is very artistic, and I love that animation very much. So my following question is that it's also like the year of the pig right now. So we can see that in the international fashion market, that we see a lot of the pig elements in a lot of the designers, not only Chinese designers, but also U.S. designers, international designers. So how do you view this internationalization of culture and of incorporating different cultures into a design?
Very interesting, because I think now, because China become the most attractive market for every brand, luxury or every brand, and because it's a spending power, it is it's a spending buying power. So when you talk about this piggy, because I have a little daughter, and I used to watch this Peppa Piggy with them. Peppa Piggy. Peppa Pig, yeah. I know, everybody love this piggy. Yeah, and the Peppa Pig is so cute as well. So I think when it first become really trendy, Peppa Piggy, is because the Peppa Pig itself, and then this year is Pig's year, and then pigs, because they're so cute, I think that maybe for all these Chinese different years, maybe pig is the most cute and attractive symbolize for people put on. And there isn't many dogs. I don't remember. Even dogs cute as well. But I think for somehow this year pig is everywhere in China. It's not just a profession. It's restaurant and movies and fashion, and even everywhere is pigs. But I think because pig is cute. But then as Yeah, people also ask me, lots of journalists, when they interview me, they said, well, as a Chinese designer, what is the symbol of you being a Chinese designer? And I'm like, wow, because first of all, I never thought I should bring any Chinese element obvious in front of people's eyes into my clothes, because maybe someone will do, but I just feel like I wouldn't wear it walking in Manhattan, because I think if I were dragons, or I just feel like I don't belong to Manhattan. I don't belong to New York. I want to belong to somewhere I'm walking. I'm comfortable with this city, so I wouldn't especially bring something to show. I would more like comfortable to be one of the city, one of the street. So I think you have lots of things to like emotion, like the color, like the cutting, to add to the brand, but maybe not necessary to have something really obvious, because everybody think the dragons and phoenix present China. I don't particularly really believe this, because yes, I think that belongs to like tourist souvenir. When you travel into China and you like, but that is only the souvenir is traveling souvenir, and it's not completely belongs to Chinese culture. One thing is, yesterday I was invited some front row, and I'm not going to mention her name, but she's quite famous in America. And not Tiffany Trump is another one. And when I delivered clothes to the house fitting, and she said, well, I love to visit China. I said, oh yeah, great, yeah. And then she will start talking about, but I disagree with Chinese attitude. I disagree with how the Chinese treat dog. You shouldn't eat dog. And I was like, what I say is there is a lot of something people believe they understand China, and they believe this is present China, and we like as well. This DNG advertise scandal. I think everybody. So sometimes people have their own minds to believe these things present something. Actually, it can easily make it wrong. So for me, I would say I wouldn't really particularly to put some really obvious some symbol to say, well, I understand. I try to communicate with them. I wouldn't do that. I think pig is lovely, but maybe it's not necessary to say pig's ear, because just pigs is lovely. This is what I think. Maybe it just happened it's Chinese pig's ear, but if it's not pig's ear, Peppa Pig is always lovely. Yeah.
That is very true. And also because of the fashion is sometimes can be a political statement, sometimes can be a representation that people misunderstood very frequently, and also people exoticize or stereotype a lot of Chinese culture without truly understanding it. Yeah, so I think I'll raise my final question, and then I'll open it up to the audience. So my final question is, what's your outlook to the future of fashion, including the fashion business in China, in the US, and all around the world? What's your vision of the future of fashion?
Yeah, I think, fashion, this word is quite interesting, because fashion actually is related to time, attitude, art, beauty. Fashion is not just pure art. I think fashion is more related to, I can say, is attitude, it is a way for living, is phenomenon, and also is kind of like, what's leading the world. That's why I call it fashion. And I realize fashion doesn't mean clothes. Fashion is a way you think about what is trend, what is the attitude for you to live, for you to living every day, this day. So I think before, the fashion used to lead by Europe. And actually, it's not say Europe, America, or China. What is going to lead in fashion is when everybody agree with the attitude, with an attitude to live, to work, to share, then that will be the fashion. So yes, I think I'm not nationalism. Even I'm Chinese, but I would really open my mind to say, what is the next attitude towards to living. And living as, we share everything. Yes, we have nationalities. It's Chinese, American, and Spanish, English. But I think maybe one day we found we all belong to this earth. And maybe one day we realize the earth is flat. And like we found we don't call ourselves particular Chinese. I remember living in Shanghai, and when people ask you, say, where are you from? And I always say I'm from Shanghai. I didn't mean I'm Shanghainese or whatever. It doesn't mean nationalities. It just the attitude of the city I'm living. So I think maybe the outlook for I'm quite curious because I think what is the next profession? I want everybody to tell me actually, because you are from this great university, you must have a lot of vision. I actually want to share with you. I want to listen from you to tell me, say, how you look the next of the world. And that is actually is a fashion.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we'll open up to audience if you have any questions, or if you want to share your thoughts on what is the future of fashion. So I'll open it up now.
Do I get a microphone or do I just like shout out?
Can everyone hear me?
I'll shout it out. So everybody hear me, right?
Yeah.
So for Chinese consumers, I noticed that a lot of, at least from what I've heard, to some extent it is in China, but I've heard that a lot of Chinese consumers see European brands as something of a luxury item. When will Chinese consumers start valuing made in China and design in China as the preeminent choice? For example, when will consumers stop buying anything that's not made in China and prioritize things that are made in China?
Yeah, interesting. And because a lot of people think like made in China means quality is poor. But I like to believe my customer is not that kind of group. Because you can easily label people. You can easily label a brand. You call them this and that, and everybody before they put the label on, they have their own perspective to look at clothes, look at people, whatever. So I think if somebody believes made in China, it means something, which is I disagree. I totally disagree. I think they wouldn't choose my clothes. Yeah, easy. They can just go whatever they believe is luxury, expensive, and they will become a consumer of them and customer of them. I think it's like a lot of French brands like Hermes, something at the right beginning they are not everywhere, or you can see a few thousand shops everywhere, and they appreciate what they like, and they really chose with a confidence. They don't chose something with a label. They chose something with confidence. And actually, I believe the people who's confident actually know what suits them the best, and they know the best quality. They know the best things for themselves. And I believe, and is more confident. Yeah.
Is there anyone else?
What do you believe are the steps needed to be taken in order to expand the Chinese fashion industry to the world? Like, what are the things that we need to do or help influence more other countries?
Yeah, thank you. I think definitely because the fashion become the leading power. I believe it's not just because like Japan, because actually I've been living in Japan over 20 years, and the Japanese designers' powers start to show into the fashion world since 80s, and they have like lots of designers start to show in Paris fashion collection. And I believe it's not just in the designers, it's something to do with the economy. It's a spending power, it's attitude, it's the people start buying something. And now, China, we start is buying power. We become an influencer for buying, for what we think is worth to buy. So I think that's definitely, even for, because as China as a country, economy is going to raising up, and it's attract lots of, without I mention that, everybody knows, we are getting stronger and stronger. So for that, and I believe China design's power is going to be more and more stronger. And I don't really think we need especially doing something. Even as a Chinese designer, if you keep showing China dress or something, simply, even they like China culture, I don't think that the physical, the figures, they wouldn't fit in China dress that well. And I think, you need to understanding the international before you become international. Yeah.
Maybe I can describe this one. Because my question, I didn't know what I'm trying to ask just before. What I say is Chinese buying power definitely going stronger. So big influencer in the world market. But I'm considering how do you treat this intellectual properties competition between Europe, American, Chinese, and then because the intellectual property usually is a longer period competition. So how Chinese, whenever you grow in a major leader of the fashion, how you protect yourself?
Yeah. Yes, that's because, especially in China, because this IP doesn't really get protected. I take it really easy. You know why? Because yes, after I launch my collection, and everybody can see the pictures and even Taobao, there is something. I'm not criticizing Taobao because I think they have the reason to existing, and. They would, one of my dress, they sold in Taobao like a few thousand pieces. But, if one day, I think, first of all, I'm not really sensitive because design or clothes brand is not just what they look, it's how they feel. I'll give you example actually. Amy was trying the clothes 2 days ago in my office. I have this a little dress, boob tubed. So as a fast fashion, I'm not going to mention any name. You go to buy it, then if you don't have this perfect body, you wouldn't. It's not easy to hold in that dress, but yes, as an outlook, outside pictures, you look like similar, but the way to making it is completely different. And I was explaining to Amy, I said, the boob tube dress and the really nice dress to hold on and comfortable to wear it. We need lots of technology. It's like couture is couture making. Couture not just a look. Couture is the way making clothes. And I use a lot of I invest a lot to study how to when we're talking about technology, it's not just a look. Look, nowadays everybody can share the pictures. Everybody can say, well, I can make this. No, you can't make it. Like suit. The suit, if you see the pictures, and the suit you make, and the suit I make, probably is different. And that needs technology, that needs experience, that needs cutting. and to handle this really, expensive clothes. So for me, actually, I really relax with this, IP production because protection, because I think even you know how it looks like, if you can make the clothes like they, you will spend a lot of money and time to study it. So you might know how it looks like, but when you couldn't make the clothes like that, yeah. My dress, we have a lot of things inside too, like couture making. Couture making, like Chanel, okay, I'm going to give example for Chanel as well. Chanel suit, why expensive? Because we have fabric. When we handle the fabric, and we have to lay the fabric on the floor and through different temperature and release the fabric for a certain time. And Chanel would put the chain on the bottom of the suit. You know why? To make it flow right. For that when you look at the pictures, you don't know how they make this. Amy used to wear Chanel. She must have a really, a lot of experience why she buy Chanel, why she, because they looks like something. They totally different. Yes, you can see the, some other brand, high street brand, they have similar design, but they completely different things. So for that, actually, when you start worrying a suitable brand for yourself, then you can protect yourself. It's quite complicated, especially as a gentleman. I mean, ladies wear that becomes like, my experience. 25 years how I learned to handle the fabric and cutting to make the suit, which is last for over 1,000 years. While you are making suits over years and years and making different and making a nice suit, I'm still learning. I'm still on the way to learning.
I recently saw a news that Queen Elizabeth would put chains under like the fringe of the dress, so the dress doesn't blow off because of the wind. I think that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
Even the leather. Why? It's like say why Hermes leather is so expensive. Why this copied is. I think I'm sure Amy never carry other stories Hermes or whatever, but she had the experience. The leather. Yes, the design looks very similar, but the way they handle the leather is completely different. The really real good leather bags, they have to go through many years. They put in this, lots of liquid to make it. The leather have the age. The normal leather, when you use the nails they very easy to leave marks and things like that. They very easily to the shape, everything's very easy to get broken. But the real brand, I'm not here to advertise Hermes or whatever, but the way they treat the leather, they spend ages and ages, years and years to treat the leathers. Normally for them to get ready for making bags, the leather, some leather has been there for like 3 to 10 years, and then start to be able to ready for one bags. And that's some very technical things to describe the fashion world. I don't think today I have enough time to share this with everybody, but the luxury brand and the nice brand, we spend lots of effort, time to making nice things. It's not just look like, it's actually the way you handle the fabric. Of course, you have to really working with a really top textile house from Italy, France. They spend lots of time and effort making these fabrics, and also the way you handle the clothes as well.
I think Ms. Wang, do you have a presentation that you would like to show the audience?
Yeah. Well, if everybody have time, and we have a 50 for how many times I left? Half an hour or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, great. You know, I bought a PPT presentation for everybody as a little present, and this presentation called "How to Dress Yourself to Succeed, to Successful," and this presentation is because I want to give everybody a little present because I know you study in this most famous and really great university, Columbia, and maybe sooner or later you're going to graduate from here, and you're going to start to open your door to the whole world.